Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. Tonight's video update is being sponsored by High Voltage Mobile DJ Service. You can contact Nathan at 812-630-9465 and make sure to check them out on their website as well at djhighvoltage.com. They've got a lot of great things to offer you for your next party. Tell them Southern Indiana weather sent you. All right, here's a live look at radar. It's about 8:15 here tonight on Friday night, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. A few scattered flurries and snow showers are around. We had some a pretty messy drive for us on our morning commute this morning, and anything that refreezes could certainly get that overnight tonight. Temperatures have fallen down into the teens. We're going to go down to an overnight low of about 10 or 11 tonight, probably more like the single digits as you head towards the north. But you can expect these sort of off and on snow showers and flurries to be around really through the end of tomorrow. And that's because we have another disturbance that's headed our way. As we kind of zoom in on our state and our region around here, you can see just some light snow showers around here. You've got more flurries going on up to our north. Our disturbance that caused us all the snow today has really raced its way onto the east and is up here around the Pittsburgh area. But it's this system right up here that's really in the North Dakota, Minnesota area that's going to be sliding down. That will be our next weather maker. And as I said a few days ago, it's really as if it's just a parade of clipper systems. We had one right after another, but this clipper is going to race down like this over us. And that will bring really the best chance of accumulating snow sort of in this area. Portions of southwest Indiana here may be sort of on bubble as to what we get and what we'll get, whether it's anything or not. We can take a look at future radar and help you determine that. We'll put this into motion and we'll come to pretty much where we are here now. Here's that next clipper system, some snow showers around the area. Here's that next clipper system by tomorrow morning. Here we are at 11 a.m. You can see it entering Illinois and moving down. It doesn't look overly impressive yet, but you can watch how it moves over us. Now, future radar on the NAM high resolution here is wanting to start this out as some potentially some light rain showers. I think we warm up to a high of around 34, 35 tomorrow for portions towards the Ohio River, a little bit colder, more towards the north. I have a hard time believing that it will start out as a rain event and then change over to snow. The atmosphere is really cold, and really from about 1,000 feet on, it's going to be below zero, so below freezing. That I believe will keep it as sort of a wet snow to start with, maybe a little bit of sleet, but really I think this is just going to be a heavy wet snow probably to start with, and then sort of change over maybe to a drier snow as temperatures start to fall pretty quickly. But I'm certainly not worried about any ice accumulations or anything like that. I really don't see this as rain, but we'll see. Things have surprised me before. But you can see a pretty heavy snow then engulfs the state pretty quickly. So once it does change to an all snow, if it does start out maybe as some light drizzle, again, I'm skeptical of that, but if it does, it will change over to an all snow event pretty quickly. But what I want you to notice is it pretty much just grazes and leaves this very southwestern portion of the state alone. So we'll see whether that really holds true or not. As you put this into motion, you can see it goes away, and so really it looks like portions more in this section of Indiana will get something rather than the rest of us. And here's what the snowfall accumulations look like according to the high resolution NAM, or future radar we just showed you. And you can see a good 2 to 3 inch swath over portions of central Indiana, but the nearest that gets to us is maybe as far south as Columbus or Bloomington, and even looks like it might graze Terre Haute. But really for points south this way, it looks like you start the 1 and 1.5 inch lines here, and almost nothing by the time you get to southwest Indiana. So we'll have to see and monitor that. Really, there's no way 100% to predict where that heavy snow band is going to set up. So we'll just have to see what direction this takes aim as it goes through tomorrow. But in general, right now, it doesn't look like this is going to be a significant event for those of us in southern Indiana. Really looks like the heavier snow totals will stay up more towards our north north, and really a 2 or 3 inch snow is not all that heavy anyway. That's not overly impressive. There's what the Canadian model says. I just want to show you that it's a very similar vein. It actually brings the heavier snows a little bit further to the south, but again, it's sort of on that same vein. The Euro is less on its snow totals. It only brings about a ½ inch down here into our section of the state, and really doesn't even bring any 2-inch accumulations until you get more towards the Kokomo area up here and towards Indianapolis and points on in that direction. GFS is also not very aggressive. In fact, GFS really doesn't give much more than a dusting to a ½ inch to all of us in southern Indiana. So sort of in general, I think what you can expect, we will just pretty much say a dusting for the most of us to maybe 2 inches at best. And really, again, I think the heaviest accumulations are going to appear up into here, and that's where you've got the greatest chances of 2 inches plus, and we'll say 1 to 2 inches or maybe even less over the rest of the state down here. I think that seems pretty much the most reasonable that I can get as far as snowfall accumulations right now. So with the snowfall accumulations under our belt, let's talk about the additional snows that we can expect. And let me just sort of let's put this into motion for you. And really, I want to back up here a little bit and get you to where we're at on Saturday. Here's that clipper system. We'll just kind of back it up a little bit. Here's where that clipper system is right now. You see it diving down and moving our direction. Boom, there's our snow as it moves through. And really you can see that maybe just a few flurries potentially on maybe Tuesday and Wednesday as we go through next week, but nothing really major for a little while, until you start to see this next clipper system moving down here on Wednesday night and start moving our direction. And here we are by Thursday afternoon, and now Thursday night it looks like we may have a decent chance for accumulating snow potentially next Thursday, and it moves off. And again, if you followed my weather updates, you know these models changes very quickly, so we'll have to see whether that holds together or not. But as of right now, it looks like we've certainly got that shot. You can put this into motion again, and by the time you get out into the extended period, here we are by next Sunday, the 26th, and not this coming Sunday, but the one after that, and you can see another bout of snow coming up here, and looks like to our south may even get some pretty decent snowfall accumulations out of this. And then here you come up with another one behind that, yet another one, and this one looks like it could be a pretty heavy rain system down to the south, maybe even some snow towards Appalachia. It doesn't really give us a whole lot of snow. This, by the way, was the system I showed you a couple of days ago that brought us a mega snowstorm. So as I said, my catchphrase is always take it with a grain of salt, and this is exactly why. Models change back and forth all the time, so this certainly could change again. And really, you've got sort of this southern branch working the low pressure down here, and you've got the northern branch of the jet stream up here, and the two aren't phasing up like they were in other models. So we'll continue to monitor that. Lots can change between now and then. So again, when we get this far out, we look at the pattern. We don't necessarily look at the specifics. The pattern is a very active period, and that's what I want to show you, is we've still got several shots at accumulating snow really over the next couple of weeks as we end out the month. And then beyond that, you can see yet another snowstorm potentially poised to hit us here on Saturday, February the 1st. Again, this is about a day later than it was yesterday. Yesterday it saw this same snowstorm as well. Had it sort of more on the moderate zone. This is certainly a lot heavier than it was yesterday, and this is about a day later. So again, this, by the way, would likely give us several inches of snow out of this if this particular model panned out. So, but again, you know, lots can change. We're still a couple of weeks away from this. So again, the pattern is a very active pattern, and from there on out, we'll just have to see where it goes. But certainly, it looks like a cold pattern to go with it. Plenty of cold temperatures, and by the way, here's snow depth by the end of the month with that last storm, and all this just to say you could see a little bit of accumulation with that. So certainly we'll have the cold weather to go with it as well. I just also wanted to show you this graphic real quick. The return of the polar vortex, part 2. I'm not looking forward to this. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not looking forward to several days of below zero temperatures again. You're probably not either, if truth be known, if very few people are. The polar vortex, remember, is just sort of, well, it's an intense area of low pressure, but it's also where the coldest pocket of air is located up around that, and it revolves around the North Pole. Look how far displaced it is. The polar vortex is, here's the border of the United States right here, and the polar vortex is just barely north of us here into Ontario and Quebec and south of the Hudson Bay. So that is way far south for the polar vortex to be displaced. The polar vortex really should be, generally resides more in this area up in here, and so this is going to bring some very cold temperatures. And by the way, this is about where the position where the polar vortex was displaced before, whenever we got those extremely nasty -7 degrees 3 days in a row here at my house. So, and unfortunately, it looks like that type of weather could be coming again. Let's talk about our temperature forecast over the next coming days. It looks like we stay warm, well, warmer anyway, that's a relative term, I suppose, through Monday afternoon. Here we are on Monday at 1 o'clock, and you see we've warmed up to above the freezing mark here over part of the area, and that's good, but unfortunately it doesn't take long, and by the time you hit Tuesday at 7 a.m., we've bottomed out into the mid to low teens and even single digits the further north you get, and unfortunately it doesn't get any better from that. By the time you hit Wednesday morning, single digits again, Thursday morning, single digits again, and we're only warming into the mid-20s to low 20s on these days as well. And then as you continue on here, you can see low 20s and teens and single digits is really sort of the rule of thumb as far as this goes, and this covers all the way through the extended forecast into next Saturday. Now, beyond that, in the extended outlook, we are looking at the possibility for 3 days of below zero temperatures again. And I know this is something we're not looking forward to, but here we are on Monday the 27th, and look at the extreme cold temperatures up in northern Indiana. It's got negative teens and -20s up here in northern Indiana, where you have a heavier snowpack. Down here, where we still have a little bit of a snowpack, but not quite as heavy, it only takes us down to a moderate -7 here around the Dubois County area, -2 down here in Vanderburgh County around Evansville, but the further north you go, -14 up here around Sullivan and Terre Haute area, and -11 in Bloomington. You just get the idea that this is just bitter cold temperatures we're talking about. And unfortunately, it's not just one day of this that we're talking about. If I put this into motion for you, here we are at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, the 27th. If I just take that out 24 hours onto Tuesday, you see here we are in the below zero temperatures again across the region. It looks like by Wednesday morning, hey, we've warmed back up to the teens. This isn't bad. That's going to feel good. But then as you go into Thursday morning, the low temperatures at below zero make a return appearance again. And it's just going to be one of those things where we're going to have to fine-tune exactly what days are going to hit. But unfortunately, it looks like those below zero temperatures, I think they're coming at this point. I don't think there's any doubt about it that they're coming. You know, the past 4 days worth of model runs, we have seen this. And now what I also want to show you is really this far out in the extended period, the only thing that we've got to rely on to give us the temperature data is the GFS. But the Euro is now starting to see some of this. In fact, the Euro goes out to 240 hours. 240 hours exactly at the last model run of the Euro was 7 a.m. on the 27th. And what I want to show you is while the GFS took us at about 7 below here in southwest Indiana, it's taken us down to about 0 degrees with plenty of below zero temperatures around. So the idea I want you to see here is the European model is now on board with the GFS as well for some below zero temperatures. So this only further serves to confirm the fact that we believe the polar vortex really is going to be displaced again, and we're looking at some just absolutely extreme negative temperatures. And really, if we're honest, take a look at how extreme this is. The polar vortex is displaced up into here, but you've got this counterclockwise rotation around the system, and these negative below zero temperatures, I mean, here's -33 up here in Wisconsin. That's just ridiculously stupid cold. I hope we never see that. -6 here is plenty cold enough for us, but what I want you to see is just how far these negative temperatures extend, and really as far as the eye can see, all the way down into mid-Alabama where the map goes, you're still even in the teens. So this is just bitter cold temperatures that's going to encompass really the entire eastern half of the nation, and it's just not looking pretty, folks, unfortunately. And now we've got confirmation from that with the European model. All right, go to southernindianaweather.com. You can get the 7-day forecast there. We're going down to about 11 tonight, up to about 34 tomorrow. Again, cloudy with snow showers likely in the afternoon hours. About 1 to 2 inches of snow accumulation, or maybe even a little less. Some areas may get lucky and see only a dusting. We're going down to about 23 Saturday night, up to 36 and partly cloudy on Sunday. Some nice weather. Get out and enjoy it while you can, because then by the time Monday evening comes, you can see just the very bitter cold temperatures that come after that for overnight lows, 11, 9, 15, and really a high of 21, 23, 25, a 7-degree low. You get the point, folks. We're looking at some bitter cold temperatures. More updates to come on this in coming days for Southern Indiana weather. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Start preparing now, folks. The cold is coming. Stay safe.